What is going on, everyone? I want to discuss Jalen Ramsey a little bit further, a little bit more than I did yesterday. And what I was discussing yesterday might have got blown out of proportion and might have been taken out of context, so I want to talk about it more. But you know what else I want to do? I want to give you free money. And I can give you free money. Use the promo code BRODES and you get $20 off of your SeatGeek's total purchase. Use the promo code now. It is free money. I'm giving it to you. Jalen Ramsey. Yesterday I stated it wasn't realistic. And in terms of money, it's a big time stretch. Now, he's good for the rest of this season and next season. Right? Before you have to really put a move on him. You could franchise tag him, but things get iffy and players don't like that anymore, and the players hold all the power. So if you decide you want to franchise tag him, he can easily say, no, I'm holding out. At the end of the day, you know you're going to have to pay this man. Unless the Eagles go with the route of, we'll just use him for the next 2 years and then let him go get his money elsewhere. That's a possibility. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just know if you want to keep this guy for a long term, which you probably do because he's arguably the best cornerback in the league, it's going to cost you so much money. It's unbelievable. You're talking about 5 years, $80 million plus, and that will affect your entire roster build. And then the same fans freaking out about how we need a cornerback, which we do, are going to be the same fans that are going to be disgusted that we lack in other positions, and it all correlates. But let me say this. I want him, okay? I want him. We are clearly bad at cornerback right now. We are 31st in pass defense in the first 2 weeks. I want Jalen Ramsey. I want this to work. I want Howie Roseman to figure out a way to make this work financially. It just seems like a far stretch. If there's anyone who can do this, it is Howie Roseman, because we've seen him move around money in ways that we can't even process. But this is a lot. You just paid Carson Wentz a lot of money that's going to kick in. If you want to keep him, you're going to have to give him something insane. And maybe they don't want to keep him. Maybe they do want to use him as a rental. But then you're giving up a first-round pick and some other players for that. As of right now, the Jags are asking for 2 first-rounders. Adam Schefter was on Philly Sports Radio this morning around 8 a.m., and he said that's really unlikely that they're going to get 2. But from Adam Schefter's perspective, there are 3 teams that make the most sense. Philadelphia, Seattle, and Cleveland. He stated that the Chiefs' name, it's thrown in there, but that's his overhyped team, if you will. That's the team that everyone's throwing out there, but it doesn't make the most sense to Adam Schefter. So this guy is clearly respected, right? He knows what he's talking about. He's got a lot of sources. It's as if, I take his word for it, the Eagles are in the mix and definitely making phone calls. He also stated, if there was a deal that the Jags even relatively liked right now, it would be done. It would be done. So that tells me they're not as close as maybe they would want to be from the Jags' perspective. Because think about it, they have a game on Thursday. Do they want him hanging around? Although Jalen Ramsey said he's ready to play, he's ready to ball with his boys. He doesn't care what team he's on. If he's out there on the field, he's going to compete. They probably want to get him out of there before Thursday. That's why I'm expecting maybe at some point today the news breaks that he goes somewhere. But we'll see. Once again, let me make this clear. Let me clarify. I want Jalen Ramsey. It will change everything we can do defensively. Now, there are some fans out there that think he doesn't fit this scheme. Okay, listen. He's a player where the scheme gets readjusted for. You figure out how to make him work. He is the priority, and then you work around him. He changes the entire scheme. He can do anything. He covers every team's best wide receiver automatically. Bang! And then you work around in other ways. He fits the scheme. Okay? Because you make the scheme fit him. You don't think Jim Schwartz will be drawing out the mouth with someone like Jalen Ramsey back there? Come on now. Come on. Does he have a problem blowing up on the sidelines and a personality that's a little big? Maybe. But there are certain cultures that fix that. You know, what's going on in Jacksonville with the Jags? Who's the leader there? Who's the leader in Miami where Fitzpatrick's pissed off? Certain places, that stuff just doesn't fly. Jalen Ramsey is not going to be spitting in Doug Peterson's face or Jim Schwartz's face in the middle of a football game. Like, that just won't fly. The locker room makes sure that doesn't happen. This is an organization where that stuff just that doesn't happen. So the fact that he has a crazy personality is a little bit noisier than others, I'm not worried about that part of it. I'm definitely not. Now, some speculation and noise surrounding what it would cost to get him. The 2 firsts doesn't seem realistic. But would you give up a first, the third, and a Sidney Jones? Absolutely. I'm giving up anyone who plays cornerback on the Philadelphia Eagles. Because you're automatically upgrading. Sidney Jones, Avonte Maddox, Rasul Douglas, like Ronald Darby, even though those guys want to get it done. If the Jags want something in return, someone with a little bit of a high ceiling, still prospecty, but can hop in there and play, a Sidney Jones, which could be a first-round talent on top of your first-round pick you give up, absolutely. No doubt about it. Because you're automatically upgrading. I've also heard the name Dallas Goedert. Would you throw Dallas Goedert in there? No, I don't think so. Because that changes how we do everything offensively. The 12 personnel thing is huge. You can argue it's easier to find a tight end than it is to find a number 1 corner in the entire league, and I agree with that. But Dallas Goedert is something different. Zach Ertz is getting older. Dallas Goedert is the Zach Ertz of the future here. I don't think I would give up Dallas Goedert. Now, these are just names that have been spitballed throughout, Philly sports radio and having Philly sports discussions on what you would actually give up. These aren't sources saying these are players in the mix, but to get, you're going to have to give. You don't get someone like Jalen Ramsey by just throwing him some crap lineman like Matt Pryor. That's not how it works. You have to give up to get. That's why some of these names have been thrown out there. Would you give up a Sidney Jones? Would you give up a Dallas Goedert? You're going to have to. You're getting the number 1 corner in the league. I want him. I want him. I want him. I'm going to continue to say it. I want him. But I know when you look at the cap space, when you look at some of our contracts throughout the next few seasons, knowing that Jalen Ramsey is going to be the highest paid corner in the league, it's a stretch, and then it will affect everything else. And Carson Wentz's contract is in play then. It's going to affect a lot, unless the Eagles just want to go with the rental route. You'll get him for the rest of this year and the year after. Is that worth it to you? Now, the injuries. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Deshaun Jackson with an abdominal strain now. Somehow it switched. 2 weeks. Hoping to be back by week 5. It is what it is. I mean, we knew when we got him that there were going to be injuries that will keep him sidelined for a game or two. Like, he wasn't going to play 16 games. Well, here it is. Here's a couple games that he's going to miss. Alshon Jeffrey, we're playing around with the same thing. Now, his is a calf injury. Hopefully 2 weeks. But I thought Deshaun would have a chance to play against the Lions. Apparently it's something different now, and here we go. Here we go. It's going to be interesting. It's funny because after the Falcons game, I was okay. I was okay. We're going to be fine. And as the days go on, normally it's the opposite. You feel better about it. You find positives. I almost got worse. I think I did the opposite. Now, I'm not overreacting saying the season's over after week 2, but I think it's because it hit me with the injuries. When I was talking about what happened after the Falcons game, I was so emotional, I wasn't at the point where I was processing what's going on. Now it's, we don't really have any defensive tackles. Where are we getting our pressure? We're not going to have Deshaun. We're not going to have Alshon. Dallas Goedert's out. Now, does that mean I think we're going to lose on Sunday to the Lions? No, I'm not going to that extreme. But I'm feeling worse than I did after the game. And that's more about processing the injuries, I guess. But anyway, I want to hear your thoughts down below on Jalen Ramsey and where you sit. Because you see the name, you know his talent level, and everyone automatically, go get him, go get him, go get him, go get him. But think about it. Process it. What are you going to give up? Are you going to sign him long term? Who are you going to get rid of then? Because you're going to have to get rid of a lot of guys. This roster is going to look completely different. You're going to have to rebuild a lot if you sign this man to a 5-year, $80 million. If not more. Because he's going to be the highest paid safety in the game. Are you going to let him walk? Are you going to give up a first-round pick to let him walk after 2 years? Because that first-round pick, even though it could be in the 20s, well, we ended up snagging someone like Andre Dillard with a pick where we were in the playoffs the year before. And is he going to be here for more than just 2 years? Yeah. So is that first-rounder worth giving up a player that could be here for years? There's a lot to process here. I know we're in the mix. I know Howie's making the call. I know we need a lockdown corner. I want him. Let me say it again. I want him. But you can't just say and scream for a guy without thinking about the long term, without thinking about the salary cap, without thinking about the roster. Is it really a serious and realistic move? I hope so. I hope so. But it all comes down to Howie and how he elects to do this. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.